And I will share the screen.
Okay.
Share. And we start with text number 1.
Okay.
So can you just confirm that you see Vesta and the text or just the text? Can somebody?
Oh, I can see that. I can see the text.
Only the text, or do we also see Vesta?
Oh, I see the text and the one who's the speaker, the one who's talking.
Then I mute. Okay, I mute myself. Vesta, just go ahead.
Okay. Yes, one thing I was saying right away is this is a perfectionist. This is somebody who likes things organized and actually could even teach, you know, because they are the type of person that gets everything in order, and teachers obviously need to be organized. I'm not saying she is a teacher, but she does like everything organized. And she's an independent thinker. Like I said, she doesn't need, while she might, you know, talk to her parents about different things or whatever, she already has made up her mind about things. She's not going to them for advice usually. She stands on her own 2 feet in that way. Although she does question herself a lot, she doesn't realize how smart she is because she's very analytical. But yet she has what we would call sort of like a low self-esteem. Now, the thing about it is, I don't know if it's the same in Switzerland as it is in the United States, but we were taught to have a low self-esteem, which is really sad, but it's an easy one to change. But if you've had years and years of writing with this built-in thing that we don't want you to think too much, we don't want you to have too much confidence, we want you to do what we tell you to do, you know, so that's kind of programmed into our life, really. And it takes some real working at it to get rid of that. So, but she does have that in there, and that would be the one thing that I would tell her to change. And that has to do with the T-bar, like I said. Mm-hmm. If you look at most of them in there are down, oh, wait a minute, am I looking at the right? Yeah, there are, yes. Quite a few in there. She does have some that are up at the top. So she does achieve some things. She will work hard at it, and she will achieve them, because like I said, she's a fluid thinker, which shows she's creative. When we see this fluidity in the handwriting, this is a person who's very good at speaking with others, and her organizational skills backs that up. She loves details. And I think she's probably got a very good memory because of it too, because details mean a lot to her. And very honest. She's very direct. Don't ask her opinion on something unless you want it from her, because she's going to be very honest. And she, you know, she likes people to get to the point too. She doesn't like that, you know, waiting around or beating around the bush. Just come out with what you want and I'll give you my answer. So anyway, she's got a lot of what I would call success traits in her handwriting. And if she could just even have a little more confidence, know that she is capable of many things, and she just needs to believe it. Does she have any questions for me?
I don't know if she wants to reveal herself or if she wants to reveal herself in the second part, which is not recorded.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
if she doesn't mind, she can reveal herself now. If not, we do it in the second
I just
part.
have a question. It's not my handwriting, but I was wondering, you said you could change the self-esteem and it has to do with the T. Can you talk
Yes.
about, like, you can change it? What do you mean about that?
Absolutely. In other words, maybe I've got a little small whiteboard here that I will show you.
Wait, I stop sharing. I stop sharing so that we see you. Yep.
Okay, let's see. Okay, let's see if, can you see that pretty well?
Yes.
Okay, now the first one is, the second one looks like it's a capital letter. But I'm presenting these both as small letters. So in school, we were taught to do it this way. In other words, cross your T-bar right at the letter, level. Let me see, let's say you had an A next to it. They wanted you to put that T-bar at the same level as the other lowercase letter. But that is low self-esteem. So really you want to have all of your T-bars crossed at the top, or at least close to the top. Let's say it goes up to there. That's a person who sets practical goals and they achieve them. But this one down here thinks that they can't. They will stay in a job they hate way too long. They might stay in a relationship way too long that's not good for them because they think that nobody else will love them, or, at least I have a boyfriend, or at least I have a husband, but he's not supportive or whatever. And same way with a job. It's not their love. It's not something they want to do. They do it because they believe they can't get anything else. And so if you change it, you will totally change that. But it takes, like I said, it takes at least 30 days. And making that change every single day. In other words, you can't stop doing it, do it for, do a page of those for one day and then skip the next day. It's just like, hey, do I want to learn how to play the piano? Then I got to do that every day till I get good at it. So it's like that with anything. So, but that's a very, very important letter. In fact, that's why I named my website Raise the Bar. And that's what I meant by that, is that you're raising that T-bar. Just think of it like if you wrote two T's next to each other, and wherever you cross those two T's looks like a ladder. Where are you on that ladder? Are you way at the beginning, or have you gone up to the top? And people that put their T-bar at the top are people who have the ability to plan ahead. They have higher goals, and they can see in the future, in a sense of like 5 years from now, I could do this, I could do that. Where the person that's way down here doesn't even get to that point of seeing what's possible. So, but anybody can do this. This is what I love about it. There's nothing holding anybody back from making this change except himself. So if you practice that and do that day after day, and you could do it in the morning, you could do it in the evening, whenever you have time that you can commit to it, and then just do I'm going to show you kind of how this would look. So in other words, you're just going to do pages of that. And, you know, don't wear yourself out too much in the beginning. If you just did it for 5 minutes, whatever you can do in that time, and you'll actually feel a little bit of a strain at first, because this is brain writing, and you're actually building a new neural pathway in the brain. So it can actually maybe exhaust you a little bit, because if you're used to doing it the other way, it's like, okay, it's like when you first start to exercise. Oh, that hurts. You know, so then you stop, but you do it again the next day, and you do it the next day after that. Now, if you do stop, we all have things that come up in life. It's crazy. The times are crazy, and we've all got too much going on and get distracted. It's easy to get distracted. But when you pick up the pen to start doing that again is day 1 again. So expect that you've got to have 30 days in a row. So, but you know, if that happens, you just start over and you keep doing it. And the important thing is that I think that's one of the most important things that people need to have in their writing. Everybody, no matter what their talents are, whatever they're going to do in life, you need to be able to believe in yourself. And to have the ability to say, I can make that change in my life. I believe I can do this. And it's miraculous what starts to happen in their life. I've seen example after example of people that had really super low T-bars who changed that, and they did quit a job that they hated and went after one that they really wanted to do and got it, or started their own business. Often those are entrepreneurs, have that in their handwriting. It's a success trait. And the letter T has some other things in it as well, like so it can have, you can have confidence built in, as well as you can also have, and I'd love it if everybody goes to the to my website. I've got about 51 different traits that you can click on and look at, and look to see, do you have that in your handwriting? You're not going to have every one of them, but it's a fun thing to look at for family and friends, to look at those, and you'll begin to understand yourself and others better. And so, like I said, you keep the ones that are positive, obviously, and everybody has, obviously has, you know, good ones in their handwriting, and most people have a lot of good ones in their handwriting. But unfortunately, from childhood, sometimes we might have had an overbearing parent, or you know, early on in your life, those are the first people that you look up to. Those are the first authority figures, and you know, and I think most are trying to do a good job of parenting, but if they came out of something that was harsh, then they tend to, you know, believe that that's the way you're supposed to do with your kid or whatever, or don't understand. And so those traits just start getting built in, and the kid, if it's something that is like, say, violence or something like that, then they have to develop defense mechanisms, which is smart. I mean, anybody who thinks they're going to get hit or whatever, they will tend to lie about things just to get, you know, to protect themselves. And but then they might take that with them through life as a way to get through life, to tell people whatever they think people want to. You'll be happy to know that not one of the 5 people who sent those in had that problem. So that was fabulous, because I often see that, you know, where there's some deception in some of the letters. But these are all extremely honest people, all 5 of them. Like I said, they should start a club.
Where did you see? Where did you see that? Like, where did you see honesty?
In the communication letters, like O and A, and every one of them that I looked at here made their O's like this, and we call that a clean O. Now they will, there's the exception of one person here who had some that had a loop on this side. And that is more of a self-deceit, not being deceitful to others. And what we mean by self-deceit, it's something they don't want to deal with. And it usually is from childhood. So they tend to say, oh, I don't want to deal with that. And they try to bury it. But it's still there. And it shows up in that writing. Then another type is the one where that's lying, is where there's 2 loops. And as you start noticing other people's writing now, you will run into some people that do have that in there. And just know that they probably had something painful in their life where they had to, as a defense mechanism, have to say, no, I didn't do that, or you know, somebody else did that. I didn't take the last cookie, or I did, you know, whatever they do in childhood, you know, because everything looks big and dramatic when you're little, you know. But the thing of it is that, you know, if they get away with, you know, telling a lie and they get away with it, they, it's like, yay, I didn't get hit, or I didn't, you know, so that worked. So they'll do it again and again, even when they don't have to. You know, as they grow up and they get out in the world, they learn to, in other words, not be authentic. They're going to say what they think that person wants. Like if somebody says, oh, does this make me look fat? Or does this look, you know, well, yeah, you're not going to come out and say something, you know, but you could say, well, I like this one better on you, without insulting somebody or lying, you know. But it just gets comfortable to tell lies, and that's not good for anybody. You know, your opinion matters, and if somebody asks for it, then they should be willing to hear the truth, or at least how you feel about it, you know. So, but yeah, you'll start to see that, not quite as oh, and then another O thing you might see is this, a loop at the top, and that shows that you can keep a secret. So it's a secretive trait. And like somebody, let's say somebody is an executive secretary. That's a good skill to have, because they have to be very discreet. They can't, you know, they can't give away trade secrets or anything to do with their job. Somebody who works for the FBI, you just say, oh, that person's very secretive. While a lot of people think that's negative, it can be, but it can also be very good. You want, if you had a friend that you confide in and you didn't want them to spread everything that you're telling, then you'll know that person, you can count on them. They're not going to blab. Now, if you see an O that's open at the top like this, that's like an open mouth. They love to talk. And so it'd be very hard. They might want to keep it a secret, but they just can't. So, But yeah, I think you'll be fascinated with all the different traits that you see on the, and then I have some celebrities on there too, where you can look at their handwriting and see, do they have some of the same ones you have? Everybody has feelings. Everybody has things that will show up in the handwriting. So, but the most important thing is to get rid of anything that is holding you back. And that's where I come in. I kind of look at the writing and, oh, and by the way, you can only change one letter at a time in those 30 days. You do not, I mean, that's taxing enough for the brain, because if you could actually see what's happening inside the brain and how it's lighting up and how it's trying to build this new neural pathway, if you had more than one going on that you're trying to change, doesn't work, then neither one of them will work. So I guess we better go on to the next, to get Ollie's in here. Here we go.
That would be number 2. I shared the screen if I
okay
to share it. Yeah, and then it's number 2 on share. Voila. Is it shared?
No. Right now it's on your computer. In your there. Now it is.
Good.
Yeah, now we can see it.
Good. That's number 2.
Okay. All right. Okay, now again, this person is like I said, there's some similar things in here. A fluid thinker, again, which is very good. Very analytical. This person likes to investigate things and really learn for themselves. They're very outgoing. This person is trying to be independent and has some physical frustration going on. There's something they want to do, but either are not allowed to be doing it, or maybe something's going on in their life that is physically frustrating for them. So there is some resentment, although they're working on it. It seems to be something it's not a deep resentment. So it's something that there is some resentment in there. And let's see, again, very honest and direct. This person comes right out with what if you ask them a question, they're going to tell you. Sometimes they have a little bit too much going on, and then they need some alone time to be able to recharge their batteries, which I highly recommend, because you can get overwhelmed by others sometimes, and you need that little bit of time to go back and kind of regroup, and kind of like your cell phone's getting, running out of power. You need to go back and recharge, and that's good. And you really like your alone time, so that's good. And but I would say whatever that physical frustration is, and you would know what it is, that's what needs to be worked on at this time. Find a way, we'll figure out what it really is and how to fix that first. Because often it's that somebody wants to do something, but yet they don't have the support around them to do it. Like, for instance, well, let's say theoretically that married couple, the husband doesn't want the wife to work, and the wife maybe had a job that she was really passionate about and wanted to do, but then after she got married, had to give it up. That creates some physical frustration. That's just an example, but once the person, let's say, does go back to working and doing what they want, that goes away. You find a way to do it and still keep the peace in some way, you know. But I do see, and about, several people, it's writing here this evening. I did see this trait in there. It may have to do with dance, since that's how I guess most of them met you, is through dance, and maybe there's something to do with that.
No, not all.
No?
Many also through meditation.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
It's not just
I see. Okay, well, like you said, the person will know what that is themselves, what that something physical that's frustrating them.
But this frustration, did you see it purely from the handwriting, or was it primarily from the signature?
From all of the,
All
the main
ingredients.
handwriting. Yeah, and I'll tell you where you see it.
Yes.
In the Y. If you'll notice, all the different Ys, they go down and they kind of end, but towards the past, but they don't come up like a loop back up to the baseline. So something is not getting finished that they want to do. And you see this all through the writing. So there's some physical frustration going on there. This is another very organized person. Like I said, there's a lot of them that have some similar traits of being very organized and all that, but something's frustrating them.
I didn't get that with the loop. And where
the
it's getting-
loop. Oh, like, okay. I'll show you an example. Then on here is, most of them are like this, and to change it, see how it has these little hooks at the bottom?
Yeah.
And it doesn't finish. You want it to go up to the finish line. Finishing your Y like that, having it go back up to the finish line, you'll find that a lot more things will get finished, that you don't have a lot of frustrating things around the house that are waiting to be finished also. So it's very important to do that. And like I said, I think there's several writings here that do have that in it. So it's going to sound like a broken record that I'm going to keep saying that, but I do see that in whoever this person's handwriting is. So that would be the one thing that I would work on. Do that over and over again. Do pages and pages where you make that Y come all the way up to the baseline. So
Vesta.
This is another very analytical person. Very good. That's a success trait. And the fluid thinking. There's also a trying to somewhat distance yourself from a parent or maybe both parents. And there may be some frustration in there. I notice, I think maybe they can make you feel like you don't have as much confidence as you should have in yourself, because you have a lot of great things in your writing. So you just need to believe in yourself a little bit more. And any questions, or shall we go on to the next person?
Number 3 is not here. She wasn't able to
Oh,
attend.
okay.
So shall we go directly to 4 and then at the end?
Oh, sure.
Is that fine? Good.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Another independent thinker, number 4. And again, perfectionist, highly organized, but
Wait,
physically.
we don't see it yet.
ja, het geeft me een beetje tijd.
Oh, okay. Okay. Each time it's almost going to sound like I'm talking about the same person, but these traits are in a number of them. So,
but I can ask something in the meantime. I'm sorry, I'm asking all the
Sure.
time.
No problem. No problem.
Like myself, when I write, for me, it's something artistic as well. And if I now have to change the T, for example, it won't fit into my art
Yes.
of writing.
I
So I feel
totally
it's
get that.
difficult to change something about it.
I know.
'Cause
I totally get that. But if it's a negative trait, unfortunately, it was something often that you saw maybe a friend in childhood that did something, said, "Oh, I like how that looked." So, we emulate that, but then we find out later that wasn't a good trait. So try at least to do it. And, creative people have a way to bring out creativity in other ways. It doesn't always, it'll show up like, I think you had, if I remember right, in one of that you had fluidity. That was the other thing, that a lot of them had this fluidity, and that's with an S. And it's very graceful. It almost looks like a figure 8, and goes into the next letter. And that shows creativity more than anything else. You don't usually see creativity like in the Y. You see it in other letters. So it's not going to affect your creativity at all. If you've got a creative brain, that's not going to go away by it. Just finishing the Y will get more things done, and the person won't feel frustrated that they're not getting anywhere. That's the main thing. So, okay, well, getting back to this number 4, like I said, this is an independent thinker, perfectionist, tends to actually tune people out. People will talk to them, and it's, they think they're hearing them, but they're actually in another world. They're just like, they have the ability to not listen. And so that's frustrating for people around them, because then they don't feel like they're being heard. So that's something, this person in particular, although the physical frustration is definitely one to change right away. They also like to work alone, whoever this person is. So that's another reason why they like to work alone, so they don't have to listen to chatter. And maybe it's better that they do, because they get more done. So, and also they don't really need approval from others, like, for instance, on their clothing. They don't really care what somebody else thinks. So they're never going to ask somebody, about their clothing or something like that. But they still do lack confidence. And that's because of, like I said, it was just drilled into us to have a low self-esteem. So eventually, this person needs to raise their T-bar to be able to gain that confidence, to believe in themselves, to really get out there, But, when they're a perfectionist like that and highly organized, these are people that are usually pretty smart. and, you know, being organized and independent thinker, and can work well by themselves and all that. Those are some really good success traits. But if they don't believe it, if they don't believe in themselves, they won't, in other words, they're not going to push themselves to act on what they're totally capable of. So, okay, and then we have another one here. This is number 5.
Yeah, we are all now here, but let's.
Oh,
Yes,
shall I go back?
Would you like to do 3 or 5 as you wish?
Why don't I go back and try the 3 then?
Okay.
Number 3. Okay.
So I share it anonymously again. Let me see. Share screen here. Share. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, great. Okay. So now this again is the independent thinker. Like I said, I think you all need to start a club because that's great. That being independent in your thinking, it'll make all these other things work, you know, eventually too. Now this person is a procedural thinker. So in other words, you don't like to be pushed to make a decision really fast. You like to have all the facts, where a couple of the writers in there were real fast thinkers. They're kind of analytical, and those people usually can make a decision very fast. And a procedural thinker thinks, yeah, but you know what? I want to hear all the facts before I make a decision. So they will, just like they're laying bricks down, I want this first and this first, and then I'll give you my opinion. And also this is another person that has great organizational skills. And she finishes almost everything she starts. There may be a few things that she doesn't, but you notice her whys, practically all of them go up towards the finish line, just about all of them. Occasionally she has some that don't, but again, we all have way too much going on, and we say, oh, I don't know if that's that important to finish that. There's other things that are more important. So, but also this person's very enthusiastic, and she really likes people. And if she was interested in a job like in sales, she'd be very good at it, because she's so enthusiastic about things that she can motivate other people. And the slant of her writing shows that she goes towards people. She likes people a lot. She's not the loner that necessarily needs to be by herself to work. She can put herself in their shoes, and they like that. So she'd be very good at sales. She does kind of, at times, she kind of loses it. She has a little bit of a temper, you know, because, you know, she likes people to get to the point too. And she does set practical goals. If you'll notice, her T-bar is not really all the way down to where we were taught. It's higher. It doesn't necessarily go all the way to the top, but it almost does. And those are people who, they have an idea, they set a goal, and they achieve it. And you're on your way to being the entrepreneurial type, the type that will take risks and whatever, once it goes all the way to the top. But it's good that she gets things done, And she not only comes up with ideas, but she gets them done. So, and she also has the fluidity trait in the handwriting. And again, they're excellent at, well, like speaking. Like I've never seen, for instance, a radio show host that didn't have that in their handwriting, that fluidity. It's somebody who can perceive the next idea. If they're talking to somebody, it's a nice flow of ideas going, which is very important. If anybody's ever listened to a radio show and you're interviewing a guest and you say, well, how do you like Switzerland? And they say, oh, I like it. And they stop talking. Well, the fluid thinking person will say, oh, well, what is it you really like? Because they understand that their audience doesn't like that dead space. So you can use that skill in lots of different ways. But again, I saw that in a lot of the handwritings today. So, and that's something that person would be very good at. So, but like I said, they are very procedural in the things that they do, and they don't want to do anything without thinking about it first. They like that. So, and this is a very outgoing person, you know, really likes other people and enjoys being around other people and helping other people. So I'm sure she's put her organizational skills to good use.
It's beautiful. I mean, I know all these people and you are so precise.
Oh, oh, good.
So it's so to the point. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, and they want to keep doing all these positive traits they have in their writing. And you know, like I said, quite a few had the physical frustration, and that, boy, that's something to fix because, you know, we need to have a balance between the mind, body, and spirit. And if you're physically frustrated, it can really work on your health, which is not good. You know, it is like a pent up energy that needs a release in some way. It could be even just getting into getting out and walking will help that. But we do want to find what it is that's frustrating to us. And that should be fixed because they have such good, you know, their writing is so well organized and shows so many good traits, but the other can be very alarming, you know. And again, this is going to look like I'm just repeating the same things again, because number 5, like I said, independent thinker, organizational skills, highly detailed. Oh yeah, you're going to share that one?
Yeah. Can you see it?
Okay. I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can everybody see that? But see how, you know, all the letters are pretty even and the spacing is very even. Again, this person needs some time alone too. They get to a point where it's too much and they have to get away and kind of recharge their batteries, which is a good thing. Nothing wrong with that. Do it because you'll be able to help in that frustration too, of kind of getting away from others for a while. And again, very honest and direct. This is the most honest group of people I think I've ever, which is fabulous. I think you're attracting wonderful people. So that's great. Now you notice that most of the letters well, they don't go up into the upper zone. You know, a Y or a G has to go down into the lower zone to make the letter. But most of her letters are in what we call the in the moment. That's the middle zone. So she spends most of her time in that, oh, I don't know how to explain that, but the day-to-day things going on. She doesn't get too much, although her lower zones are fairly long, but again, that frustration. So now, but like philosophical things, she doesn't spend as much time in that world of philosophical ideas. She's more in the day-to-day getting things done. She's in the now, as they call it, in the moment. So, but yeah, she likes things. She pays a great deal of attention to details. And usually these people have pretty good memories too, by the way. Particularly like, let's say she was an accountant or something like that. That's a great skill to have, to be really good at details. Or any kind of a job where where it's very important to have the details. So those would be her best occupations, whether she's working for herself or somebody else. And that, along with the organizational skills, she's going to be really good at. She does have some issues. I was talking earlier where I was showing the letter O with a loop on the left-hand side, which she does have. If you look at a few, she has a few of those in there. And like I said, those are usually events or things that happened, not always, but usually in the past, and even maybe in childhood. And it's an issue she doesn't particularly, she knows it's there and she will know what that is, but she doesn't feel like she wants to deal with it. So they kind of sweep it under the rug, and it's like, okay, maybe someday I'll work on that. But if you know what it is, sometimes you don't know for a few days, because it depends upon how deep it's been buried. But it's like they just don't do anything about it. And if it is something that you right away know what it is, I try to clear it up. I fix it in the best way you know how. Sometimes we don't always know how, but it's very important to do it because it just hangs in there, you know, and it's one of those things that you got to get rid of. So the other thing too is, again, we were taught the low self-esteem, got to get rid of it. I think that while that's important, I think fixing the physical frustration is more important. Almost for everybody here today. It's very important because it's like a pressure cooker. If it doesn't let off steam, you know, it can just blow up. It's not good for the body. So look at like you're going to do something really wonderful for your body by fixing whatever's frustrating you. And then later you can come back and work on some of the other traits, and you will find that. Another thing on my website, we have a course that is free, and it's called, I believe it's called Handwriting 101. And I have a link to it that goes to the Handwriting University. And it's a great thing to start with because it doesn't cost anything and it'll help you to understand all the other traits and kind of get you going with that. And it also will help you to understand your own family or people around you and why you might, in fact, some of the frustration might be around people that are close to you that you don't understand. They frustrate you, but once you see traits in their handwriting, you can say, oh, and you each have a better understanding of each other, and then you can have better relationships. So it's kind of a fun one to do. I can tell you that a lot of people start that way and want to go on to using this themselves and wanting to even have it as an occupation, and there are not near enough people, although in India, they have the most certified handwriting analysts in the world. And some have been as young as 14 that graduated. So I think this is going to have an incredible ripple effect on that country over the next 20 years, because all of those people have learned to put positive things in their handwriting and to teach that to others. And that raises the vibration of the entire world when you get that, which is fabulous. Oh yeah, what she's showing there. This is actually the handwriting I did of a man. I put it on YouTube, and we did his handwriting. And my friend, who is a numerologist, she did the numerology for the same person, and we both came up with the same traits that were in that in both of them, which is fascinating because they're two different tools, but they come to the same conclusion. So it's kind of fascinating to watch that. But you'll see how a total analysis was done, and it's kind of fun. So does anyone else have any questions or? Oh, by the way, I did want to say for number 5 that they could be, the signature is very different from the regular writing, very different. And because the signature, oh, and by the way, your signature is what you present to the world, how you appear to the world. And we never make a full analysis without seeing both, because if you look at the regular body of the handwriting, that tends to be more who that person really is. We can often learn to put on somewhat of a facade to get through, depending on what our job is and how we have to appear to the people that we work with. Then, but that person, number 5, shows that they are a comprehensive handwriter, which is a person who is just, the public will see them as brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And because, and some of the tough things for a comprehensive writer is they think so fast and they come to conclusions so incredibly fast that they get bored with the people they have to deal with. Because everybody else seems to be going in slow motion compared to themselves. And yet they just grasp things so quickly, and they're very smart. So in public, that's how that person's going to appear. And she does have some of those same things in the other writing, but not the same. If she looks at her own signature and she looks at her own writing, she'll notice her signature is very sharp, almost like a saw blade. And yet, when you look at those same letters in the body of the writing, they're much more rounded. And rounded writing is more from the heart, and angular writing is more from the intellect. So she does have some of that in the body of the writing, but it tends to be a little more heart-based. So she's not quite as tough as she appears. Not tough, but very analytical. Very analytical, and you know, using her thinking skills. So I don't know what her job is, but if she does have to give speeches or whatever, she'd be a winner in that. So any other questions that anybody has, or any confusion you might have from me? I tend to go all over the place, but
no, it's interesting. Thank you so much, Vesta. We have 3 minutes to go before.
oh wow,
Yes.
oh, we did good then.
Yes.
We got this.
So I stopped the recording here, and maybe there
Okay.
are some questions which we don't want to have recorded, huh?
Right, exactly.